In this GTA Online video, I'll be showing you guys the best way to use the import-export business, also known as the vehicle cargo. There are some different tips and tricks that I can share with you, which will make this business really nice, especially in this event because it does have that double money and RP bonus. So yeah, as always, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and let's dive into it. The first thing that we need to cover is how to pick up one of these vehicle warehouses, and there is a few requirements that you need first. The main requirement is to own any of the CEO offices. Luckily, it does not matter which ones you guys purchase. You can of course go for the cheapest office, and on my PC account, this is the exact one that I have. When you have this office, you can then go inside, log onto the main computer, and you can select the vehicle cargo. When you select this for the first time, you now have the opportunity to purchase one of the vehicle warehouses, and there's quite a few of them to choose from. In my experience, I just recommend buying one closer to your other businesses, but in the grand scheme of things, it really does not matter which ones you guys pick. Some of them are probably just a little bit better than others, and in all honesty, I would say any one of these vehicle warehouses that has the most space outside will probably be the best option. You will probably notice that I already have one of these vehicle warehouses, and this will be the cheapest possible one. These things will also have that 30% discount this week, so you can save a lot of cash. I mean, some of these ones are upwards of $2 million, nearly $3 million without this discount, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. At this point, we have covered the two requirements to start these things. At this point, you can go ahead and source any vehicles for your warehouse directly from your office. So this will be pretty much the standard way of doing things without making use of extra things to help you. Obviously, GTA Online has come a long way since the vehicle warehouse business was released, so now we have some really nice time-saving things. For example, you could use the cargo bob, or at least now in GTA Online, you can use a better cargo bob called the Iron Mule. Now, it is a given this will cost you guys millions of dollars, and for the most part, you will only be using it for this business, maybe another business as well. For me at least, I think the benefits of the Iron Mule just make this very worth it. It also has a trade price if you wanted to go into that. Reasons to use the Iron Mule are pretty straightforward. It is just faster than the cargo bob at pretty much everything. It also has better explosive resistance. If you guys have used a cargo bob before, you will know how bad it is in terms of this. I mean, you guys can just see in the gameplay just how easy this is with the Iron Mule. It can gain this height really quickly as well, which will really help on the sell missions. And for those of you guys who have never used this business, if you do have the Iron Mule or a cargo bob, to drop these vehicles off, you just need to hover over the Corona circle. You then get this animation, which is honestly pretty cool, and the vehicle is delivered. Now that I have delivered this first vehicle, I think it is really important to talk about how you can source top range vehicles all the time, which will contribute to you making the most money possible from this business. To achieve this, it is fairly straightforward. You need to keep all standard and medium range cars. So once you source them, do not sell them, just keep them in your warehouse. And every time you guys source a top range vehicle, you want to sell it. That is only the first part of this trick, because if you guys keep doing this and keeping your standard and medium range cars, once you've got all 10 standard and medium, this is the point where you will only be sourcing top range vehicles. Just make sure that you do not go over 32 cars, because if you do this, apparently you will get duplicates, possibly standard and medium range duplicates, which is always bad because you will then need to sell them. You can also see here that if you have less than 32 cars in your warehouse, the sourcing missions will never give you a car that's already in your warehouse, which is of course a duplicate. And that is why keeping 20 cars in total, which are standard and medium range, will make sure that you always source these top range cars. This of course does sound really straightforward. However, the massive downside to this is that it will take a long time to set up, even using an Iron Mule or a cargo bob. And just remember, these standard range and medium range cars, even top range cars, are completely randomized. So sometimes you might just get top range cars for quite a long time. You will then of course have to sell them, which isn't bad I guess, but if you guys want to get fully set up, it might be annoying. At this point in the video, I wanted to share what I would typically do with this business. The first thing that I like to do is pull out the Iron Mule, obviously making the sourcing and sell missions really easy. I then like to call my terabyte. Obviously this will cost a ton of cash to get, but if you guys have this, it might save you a lot of time. I then park my terabyte right outside my vehicle warehouse. Essentially this will act as the office, so now I don't have to set my spawn location to the office and switch sessions every single time I want to source. For this specific warehouse, I park my terabyte here. I can then park the Iron Mule on top of the warehouse, climb on the terabyte and access the Iron Mule. This really helps for this warehouse specifically because there is not too much space. I can then just begin sourcing, delivering the cars to the warehouse, and it is really that straightforward. To show you guys a sell mission, I go inside the vehicle warehouse, I then filter by range, select select one of the top range vehicles, throw on any of the customization options, park it in the street like this, enter the Iron Mule, and pick up the vehicle. If you are also using a cargo bob or Iron Mule, you want to make sure that you go really high. This will prevent the enemies from spawning in, and for some reason in these sell missions, the enemies that do spawn pretty much have aimbot. If you have experienced this before, you will know how annoying this can be, but as long as you guys go high enough, these enemies will not spawn whatsoever, in turn making these sell missions really easy. And similar to sourcing the vehicles, you want to lower the vehicle down over the corona circle and the sell mission will be completed. With the double money and RP, we are making $200,000 on these top range vehicles, which nowadays in GTA Online might not sound like a lot of cash, especially solo, but just remember this was one of the first businesses introduced into the game, and for the most part it has not had any upgrades or updates. One really nice way that you guys can make more money from these sell missions is just selling in a full public lobby. Obviously this will be high risk but high reward. If you do that, you could make upwards of $400,000 per sell mission as long as you are selling these top range vehicles. And then to make even more cash on top of this, if you have multiple top range vehicles, you can recruit some friends or random players, and depending how many players you guys have, you will be able to source more vehicles. For me at least, I prefer doing these things in invite only sessions. I just feel it is more efficient. You don't have to worry about people griefing. Obviously you do lose out on some money, but at least then it is completely hassle free. The only thing that you have to worry about is the enemies spawning in, if they even spawn. To give my final thoughts on this business, I do think it is a pretty nice way that you guys can make money this week. However, if you guys want to make the most money possible, this is probably not the best thing to do. And in terms of making the business really smooth and very efficient, you need a lot of cash to get things like the Terabyte, the Cargo Bob, or Iron Mule. But once you finally get around to getting these things, this business is genuinely really fun. And to even afford things like the Terabyte and Iron Mule, I would suggest playing the Cooking Bell Farm Raid. This will be the best go-to starter money method. It can be done completely solo. It does not require you guys to have anything. You will not even have to pay a setup fee. And after your first time completing this, you will make $750,000. And then every time after this, you are making $500,000. So that will be a really nice way that you guys can save up and potentially start setting up this vehicle warehouse, getting all of the different things to make this as efficient as possible. So yeah, that will be really everything to do with the vehicle cargo. Like I've already mentioned, I don't think it's the best business by any means, but even still, I think it is a pretty good starter money method, even with this double money. And compared to a lot of different businesses and money methods, this one is pretty unique, and I still do find it quite fun. Of course, if you guys wanted more of a challenge, you could just sell the vehicles without using the Iron Mule. However, I would not suggest doing this. The enemies that will spawn in are completely cracked, and just remember, in these sell missions, once enemies are shooting your vehicle, you will be losing money. So yeah, that will really do it for this video, just going through the import-export sell missions and the sourcing. If you guys have any more tips that I potentially missed in this video, make sure to leave a comment below and let me know. I think another thing that you could do on the sell mission specifically is drive these sell vehicles away from your warehouse so that the enemies spawn in. Get out of the vehicle and kill a certain amount of enemies, and this will stop them spawning. It has been a long time since I did it this way, so I'm not sure if this will still work or not. I just prefer having the stress-free experience of just delivering the vehicles by air. But yeah guys, that will wrap it up for this video. If you went on to enjoy this or found it useful in any way, shape or form, leave a like. I always appreciate your support, and if you are new here and like what you see, subscribe and hit that bell icon to never miss a video. Finally guys, stay safe, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.